Hello, I have finished the config menu. It is, I think, completely. I still need to test it. I still need to fiddle around with it, but for the most part, it is completely working. So let's take a look at it. So, this is just the default values when you set up the server. It'll just have the Discord wide poll, and it'll have all that. So you could go into the Discord wide poll. It has all this stuff. I believe I showed this before. It is formatted a little nicer though. And then, for example, thread creation, you could go in, you could change it, create and close, and it'll say created and then closed. And then you can go back and you could go to like free response. And free responses are disabled, so we shall go in and set it to dev poll commands. And boom, now they're all here. And then we can change the settings for this specific thing, and they'll have all the same exact settings, except, because the Discord wide poll has settings that every single, like, quote unquote module should have. So I've kind of just brought over every single one that makes sense for it. So you could change the send time for free response now. That's new. You can have a role ping. You can have a thread creation. Yeah, so those three are actually new. The message pinning is not new. But yeah, those were the only two things you could configure with free response. But now you could do all these three of these. Of course, that isn't coded yet. I'm just doing the config menu, so I know how I have an easy way to change it. That's my next step. I have to actually change it. I have to make sure everything works, especially the threads, because that is a completely new feature. And then, yes, the timing for this stuff will also be pretty big on my part, but we'll see how that works. But also, if you go back to like all the way, you end up seeing that it kind of summarizes what happened. If I do go to free response and I change the send time for it to like 4 hours, 9 p.m., I go back, it says free responses are sent at 9 p.m. But there is another page. So you could go to the next page, and that's again where server-wide polls are held. So if the server isn't linked, it'll just say Ko-Fi supporter. This just sends you to the Ko-Fi link. But I wanted to retain the functionality where you could still kind of preview everything. So you are still able to go into the module. It'll just say, this is a preview of the settings. You'll need to become a Ko-Fi supporter to enable this module. And you could even go into the settings themselves. Like you could go into thread creation and you could look at it, see what it describes, but you can't actually change it. So this is just a disabled select menu, and that'll be the case for every single one of these. But you'll be able to read what it is. So you'll be able to read that, oh, the times in your local time zone, blah, blah, blah. And then poll results are always sent and tallied before the next poll. So, you get some information before you, like, support. Like, you don't want, or I don't want to get supporters that, like, don't know what this is. Like, I'm trying to show as much off as possible so it's not, like, confusing what the hell this section is. Like, oh, I get more polls? Not necessarily, because they're custom polls that run exclusively in your server. That could actually probably be worded better. I need to figure out better wording for that, because that, while it does say custom, it might be like, the English language is pretty damn obscure. That could mean like, oh, it's just a separate set of polls that I make for you. But no, it's actually the server admins create them for the server. But I thought that was pretty cool because you could still look at them. I got rate limited. I went through way too many menus. I probably do have to up the rate limit on the config stuff. But yeah, it did also error when I hit the rate limit. Interesting. That's something I'll have to fix. But imagine getting rate limited by your own bot. But oh wait, because I'm rate limited, I can't use the fucking commands anymore. Hey, I'm subject to all the rate limits too. I'm gonna restart the bot just so I could bypass that limit. But yeah, all the things didn't save. I can save them if I want to. So if I do end up enabling free response and I do end up, say, wanting to ping .dev, I can save the changes. and those will all be good. And I can exit, and it'll say all changes were saved. So that's kind of the config menu. It still needs a little bit of buffing out. Specifically with like the server pull side of things, I haven't been able to test that because I just haven't been bothered to link this server to my supporter status, you know. But I'll see if everything's working, then I'll get working on the threads, and I'll also just make sure everything still fucking works because I changed all the database stuff. But I think for the most part, everything should still kind of work. The current Discord-wide poll, this thing, all that sort of stuff. So I thought that was pretty cool. I like the config menu a lot more because it's so much more. I mean, there isn't too much of a change outward facing. It's just the pages are kind of like nested, but I'm able to put all the features in every single, or yeah, all the more like all the settings in every single feature. So free response is a feature, Discord-wide poll is a feature, server-wide poll is a feature, and I can have all the settings from Discord-wide polls and all that into the other features, and they just kind of work. And yeah, it's pretty nice. And it's really easy to add stuff, and it's so much nicer looking than the actual current config. I've already shown that the past 2 times and in stream. I won't do it again, but it's much nicer. But anyways, sukadia.dev/help for the Discord. Bye!